that he eye-rolled both of them last night. At one point, ignoring Nat Hackett on the sidelines, just would not look at him, ignored him. That's Aaron. And then he also eye-rolled, the sigh, the strong, heavy sigh with Alan Lazard's drop early. Now, Aaron does lead the NFL all-time in free play touchdowns, which I didn't know until last night. It doesn't surprise me. But Aaron often projects that he lives on the edge. He is an independent. He does not comply. The truth is he seeks comfort. Aaron seeks comfort. He wants relationships to be on his terms. It's all about making sure Aaron's comfortable in those relationships. There's no pushback. And that's just not, and by the way, there is nothing wrong with seeking comfort in life or as a quarterback, but you also have to be willing to be challenged and have uncomfortable conversations. Hey, Aaron, you brought a lousy OC to the building. That's on you. Nobody else wanted him. That's your call. Deal with it. That was your call. And Alan Lazard, again, he's a number 3 receiver in this league. I see what he's getting paid. That was your call, too. You can't distance yourself from that stuff. So Aaron projects that he's a rebel on the edge, won't comply. But to me, he's always seeking comfort, and some of it's good. But, I mean, John Elway and Peyton Manning in Denver, they went back and forth on stuff. It's not a comfort league. It's just not the way it works. It's difficult. You can have stretches, but Tom Brady never went to dinner with Belichick in 20 years. That's a fact. Never went to dinner. It was an uncomfortable relationship, often. Remember when Belichick finally gave him a game ball and how awkward and cringy it looked? There was tension for 20 years in that relationship. Aaron will ghost you. He doesn't want that stuff. Well, that's part of the sport, bro. That's part of it. I will say we could all be negative on the Jets, but here's something. The NFL is, don't kid yourself, they're very intentional with their schedule. Fans always say rigged to get, oh, be quiet. What leagues do, you've seen this with March Madness, and you see it in the NFL. The NFL is incredibly intentional with their schedule. They gave Jim Harbaugh 2 very winnable games to start. Caleb Williams will not face the Packers until week 11. But, meanwhile, you've got the Jets facing New England twice in the first 8 weeks. The NFL wants Aaron to win, and they want this story to be a big one for ratings. Last night, I guarantee it got big ratings. And so if you look at this schedule, at Tennessee, New England, Denver, Minnesota, that is built for the Jets defense. Will Levis, Jacoby Brissett, a rookie, and Sam Darnold. Then it toughens up considerably, especially down the stretch. But I do not think that this is a coincidence. I think the NFL likes to build stories. And they're not changing who wins and loses games, but it's an intentional schedule. But even that said, you can't manufacture a good team. And so the Jets do not have tight end production, 1 legitimate receiver, a now 40-year-old immobile quarterback, and a bad play caller. So I'm interested. If Breece Hall twisted an ankle, they're down to a rookie running back from Wisconsin. Like, there's the margins for the Jets are thin. Now, I think they're going to beat Tennessee. I think it's going to be low scoring. It's 4 points is the spread. I just don't think Will Levis can play. I think when you get humiliated, and the Jets defense was humiliated last night for 3.5 hours. That was embarrassing. No Christian McCaffrey, almost 200 yards rushing. That was embarrassing. 10 big plays by 7th rounders, undrafted play. That was embarrassing. The Jets defense will play with its hair on fire against Tennessee down in Nashville. But when I watched the Jets last night, I came back to this. I watched Kansas City and Baltimore's offenses on Thursday. Wow. I watched Philadelphia, Green Bay offenses on Friday. Wow. I watched the Lions and I watched the Rams. Talent everywhere. Hell, Buffalo scored 34 points after a really, really turbulent start. Like, this Jets offense, you can't manufacture things. Aaron's not going to get super elusive. The O-line was pretty good last night, but they are 1 injury away from being like a low oxygen offense. Like, forget high octane, low oxygen. Breece Hall twists an ankle, it's Garrett Wilson and 40-year-old Aaron. I'm not rooting for that. I'm just saying, I'm watching last night, and I'm like, you start putting up the skill people, the top 12 skill people in that game last night, 9 are Niners. Debo, Jennings was great. The backup running back was great. Brock Purdy was great. Trent was great. Kittle, it was just one after another. It's so layered. I'm not trying to be negative guy here. It just felt like to me, if the defense isn't as good as we thought, and we don't know if the coach is the coach in the future, what are the Jets? J-Mac, these are serious questions that need to be answered. If I said to you, of all the elements of that team that was embarrassed, what is the one thing you trust? What are they? Where is the reservoir of talent? Because I couldn't figure out why Sauce Gardner wasn't on the field last night.
Yeah, he missed like a couple series. Mosley missed a couple series. I don't know what was going on. I don't trust the defensive line right now, which is weird because we talked all offseason. The offensive line is the problem for the Jets, right? Can they gel together and protect Aaron Rodgers?
They were
fine last night.
I thought they were probably the strength of the team. Was that I thought Aaron got decent protection.
I would say above decent. B or B plus
that's
protection.
Fair.
He wasn't under duress. He had time to throw. He just wasn't making throws. Now it's his first game in 500 days. I would say that I feel the most confident about the offensive line. I have large questions about the defense. Now, I don't know if that was just the Shanahan zone running scheme, but they were doing a lot of inside runs that the Jets didn't look ready for. Jets are getting blown off the line of scrimmage. Trent Williams showed up like a week ago. We're like, oh, has he been eating Cheetos for the last month? He played like every snap, didn't give up a pressure. It was just frustrating.
Generally, people think defense is ahead of offense. And I think it usually in the NFL maybe works that way, unless you're considering McVay. Okay, look at the Rams' offense. The Rams were missing 3 offensive linemen, both tackles, Puka Nacua. And look at their offense in the second half against Detroit. It was brilliant. Okay, look at Kansas City's offense. Andy Reid, first game. Xavier Worthy's a rookie. Rashee Rice, all the turbulence. Didn't have good tackle play. We were concerned. Their offense was great. Niners offense was great. You start looking around the league at the offenses that hummed. Really.
If Likely's toe is in the end zone, Harbaugh instantly signal we're going for 2. Does the narrative for the Chiefs change if that's a touchdown and they get the 2-point conversion? I don't know. But to get back to your Jets point, I thought you were maybe not giving Brock Purdy enough credit because Jets elite defense. You remember last year what they did? Mahomes struggled, 2 picks. Jalen Hurts struggled, lost. C.J. Stroud knocked out of the game. Jets' elite defense showed up last year against elite quarterbacks. Brock Purdy was spectacular last night. Do you know how many gambling influencers were saying, one of the best bets on the board is Brock Purdy to throw an interception? He didn't sniff an interception. He was flawless.
Here's what's troubling, though. He didn't have to throw into tiny windows. People were wide open.
That's another point.
Yeah,
why the hell are the Jets playing zone when you got elite quarterbacks?
Well, ever notice that Cooper Kupp runs a 4.6 and he's always wide open? That's scheme. When I watched the Niners last night, it's not like Jennings is a 4.3 guy. They were all wide open. That's scheme. That's coaching. If Worthy gets open for the Chiefs, that's speed and scheme. There are guys that separate. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they just separate. Cooper Kupp's always open. That's scheme. And I'm watching San Francisco last night, and I don't know. It'd be one thing if Purdy was delivering missiles into tiny windows. You're like, okay, it's Josh Allen.
Didn't he do that on the Ayuk touchdown catch that he dropped?
That was a great throw.
Phenomenal.
By the way, the remade Jets offensive line, according to PFF, the remade Jets offensive line was, in week 1, 27th in pass blocking. That's what they do for a living.
Okay.
That's your highlight. So it begs the question, if that's the highlight, what are they? And I think it's easier to define for any company what you are when you have good leadership.
Well, that's interesting because that 27 doesn't match the eye test, which happens. Yeah. It's not like Rodgers was running for his life or getting decked. I think he was sacked once.
But he was also getting rid of the ball pretty quickly.
Well, that's by design. He doesn't want to be a statue in the pocket and get clobbered by Bosa and company. I don't know. It was shucks. Whoops. If the offensive line was not good, then what was good for the Jets then? If it wasn't the offensive line?
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. What